Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Otsego City Council meeting. Tonight is Monday, April 27th. Audra, can you have the record show our assistant city attorney, our city planner, our city engineer? All council members are present, along with our assistant city administrator and our city administrator. At this time, I'll ask Bill to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our first item of business this evening is an open forum. This is the portion of the meeting where you can come to the podium, state your name and address, and limit comments to 5 minutes or less. Would anyone like to speak at this time?
Gabe Davis. Couple of questions. What's the contingency plan if we void all the contracts with the other cities surrounding us? If something were to go wrong and find out that one fire station can't handle it, what do we do then? Second question is directed to the mayor. For months, people have asked for a forum between the citizens, public safety, to discuss the fire department. When is that going to happen?
Any other comments?
Gerard Zachman, 6194 Oakwood. I got a few different things to complain about, talk about. On March 7th this year, I had an ambulance went down a road on 62nd Street where Norm Fresky used to live. It's a 16.5-foot road. There's no turnaround. The ambulance drove out in my hayfield quite a ways. And I've got a bill here for around $1,000 worth of damage. And it's the Lina Ambulance Service, Buffalo, Minnesota. The two ambulance drivers that I talked to, I didn't get their names, but they gave me the name of Brian Nord, 220 Campbell Drive, Northeast 500, Buffalo, Minnesota. I've contacted him a couple times, sent him pictures and everything else about all the damage. He hasn't returned a call. He keeps sending my letters back, and I can't seem to get nowhere with this guy. And I want to know what the city of Otsego, the engineer or the attorney, thinks they can do about it. Because I already have given up 2 feet of my land for 62nd Street. The turnaround was supposed to be on the end, a hammer handle. There's 3 signs out there that says no turnaround, private property, put up by the city of Otsego. Plain to see. In fact, I've got pictures on my phone. If anybody wants to see them, I can show you them. They turned around within 20 feet of these signs, right out in the middle of the hayfield. When it was good and wet, got stuck. No emergency, no nothing. And I'd like to know when this hammer handle, turnaround, or whatever is supposed to be put in to make these people turn around. Because there's 8 driveways down 62nd Street. The road is only 1,000 feet long, so you can see from one end of the street to the other, no problem. Their claim was that they had an emergency on 62nd Street. Fine, if there's an emergency, fine. But you don't turn around in anybody's fields or anybody's front yard. They chose my field because they figured it would be the least amount of damage. And I can't seem to collect any money for it, so I'm putting it on the shoulders of the city of Otsego. You guys going to give Adam the slip, maybe he can contact the guy and see if he can get anywhere with him. And the second thing I got down there on 62nd Street, it's a 16.5-foot wide road. It's a residential area, according to what I know. Years back, you kicked 2 or 3 different businesses. They were just doing small business stuff. They're fixing cars and stuff. One was a machine shop. You kicked him out of there. You kicked Tim Ekron out of there. There's another guy down there that you kicked out of over the years. Now there's a commercial lawn service down there. Tree service, lawn service, snow removal, the whole 9 yards. There's more cars going in and out of there than on that whole road going to one place. And I believe Mr. Lick knows about it because I contacted or tried contacting somebody in the city, and they were pushing snow way out in my hayfield to begin with, and he sent a letter. And I believe the Colas, the road grader guy, he knows it's down there too. He's made comments to me a couple times about what that business is doing down there. And I'm wondering what the city's going to do with this. If they're going to allow that, then I think everybody in the city of Otsego, whether it's a residential area or anything else, can go out there and put a business in their backyard and say, well, you didn't do it on 62nd Street. And I'd like a letter on it to find out what exactly is going to happen out there. Because if you're not going to do nothing about it, they're fine and dandy. It's not my problem. But it keeps migrating. That road keeps migrating, feather out in my field. And now with the turnaround with the ambulance, and here this week they turned around with their, not the road grader so much, but it was a payloader and a packer that turned around on my field too, right on the edge. Not bad, because they kind of know they stay out of it. But I'm gonna do a little bit of reconstruction on that road, migrate the road back to where it belongs again. And if there's any problems, I don't even want to hear about it, because I was told by Andy McCarthy, the former attorney, that it migrates. Gerard, you know it migrates. Well, I'm just going to migrate it back again. And if there's gravel and anything else, so be it. It's coming in my field. But this commercial operation, they turn around, they don't care. People go to the end, they turn around, no matter who it is, whether it's Amazon or what. Most of them can figure out the back in, the end person. I believe they turn around and at 14228 62nd Street is where they turn around, most of them. But for some reason, this ambulance can't figure out how to back into a driveway and turn around properly. So I think, City of Otsego and this Brian Nord from Alina Clinic can pay for the damages out there. Now, I don't know what you guys want to do about it. If you're going to do anything, fine. If not, I'm going to keep coming back every time I find somebody, hand you guys the bill, and you can collect it or pay it, one or the other. Because I'm not putting up with it no more. I'm tired of it.
Gerard, I have a question. So you have the bill, you sent it to them. Adam can take it, Brian. We can pass.
I just got a copy of it.
Okay. Is the damages, you said $1,000, that's for you to grade, I'm assuming?
It's intentional crop damage from the ambulance turning around in the alfalfa field on March 9th, 2026. That's for the seed, for the damage, for 4 bales of hay that would come off of there 4 times this year. There'd be about a big bale of hay there, fixing and repairing and replanting the seed and so forth. It's $1,025. And I believe state statute, 60413 of the state statute says if it's intentional, it's 3 times the amount. If I have anything to say, that's what it's going to be. Maybe they'll learn next time. That's what I'm going after. Thank you.
Adam, do you have any comments about taking that invoice?
Mayor, we can certainly connect Mr. Nord with the property owner from Alina, but without additional information or review of the site, I'm not sure this is a city liability in terms of compensating the property owner, unless it would be within the right of way. So we need additional information before I can comment further.
Okay. Richard,
I'd agree with that.
can we?
Adam, anytime you want to come out there, I'll take you out there. I'll show you what's going on out there. Be
Yes, sir.
glad to.
Yep. Yes, sir.
I mean, my number's in the phone book, or I give it. It's on there, I believe, also.
Okay.
And everybody knows where I live, because if you know where Norm Fresky lives, you know where I live.
All right. Thank you, Gerard.
All right. Any other comments?
Hello, good evening. This is in regards to 9502 Parkington Avenue. which I think is well known.
Can we,
Uh,
can we get your name?
my name is Ken Farrington, 9530 Parkington Avenue, a neighbor of this abandoned property. You can have these pictures if you want.
If you could pass them to our clerk.
It's pretty obvious this gentleman does not care. And if the city does not care because you've been notified numerous times by other neighbors, I'm the only one that I know of that has spoken of this. But it's an eyesore for us. If any of you would love to live next door, I'll sell you my property because my big issue is I plan on trying to sell my property. Do you think I can get my full amount of my taken care of property with this beside me? I don't think so. That's my problem. What can we do about it? And when can we do something about it?
I'll wait for the pictures to get passed down to the,
Mayor. I did go by that property, in fact, on Friday, just to take pictures of it myself so that we have a baseline for this year. Every year this pops up on the code enforcement list for grass. Other than the grass, it's not necessarily a violation of the ordinance to have overgrown shrubbery, etc. I know we'd heard previously about concerns about the roof having holes in it, which you can see on this picture, but we can't see from publicly accessible places. So we weren't able to address that from that standpoint, but based on what we have here, we can work with the city attorney's office to address this as a hazardous building potentially and look at options to pursue that way.
Richard, any comments?
No, usually the first, like he touched on, the first avenue would be looking at what sort of code enforcement options there are. To the extent, looking at the ordinance, what sort of violation might be to address that way. Then yes, there is also the hazardous building statute, which has kind of its own additional layers of requirements, which touch on, what constitute being hazardous, but those would essentially be the legal avenues to look at addressing this.
Not only hazardous, but we are getting animals into our property from this abandoned property. I have not seen him in months.
And yeah, all of that would be things that would factor into our building that.
And I'm having to take care of his property to keep mine maintained. It's a major issue.
Sorry,
So,
we're just making sure this.
yeah, no,
Audra?
it's, yeah. I have never been to a meeting. I know I've talked to you
Yeah,
on
we've talked
other
about-
issues and thank you for
Mhm.
taking care of the mailbox deal. But anyway, yeah, it's I'm up to here with it. So I would like to see something done. Obviously, someone said years. So I think years should end right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Charles Hediger, 9539 Parkington Avenue. Ken is my next door neighbor across the street. 9502. I was here 2 months ago. And before that, a few months before that, complaining about that house. The house has trees growing out of the roof, out of the gutters. If you walk down Ken's property line and you look in the back window, there are stuff scattered. Like you can see the sliding door when the trees aren't in full leaf, and you can see the trash inside the place. The guy is never there. If he does show up, he shows up for 2 days and then he's gone for 6 months. There's never any garbage outside. I mean, his cans haven't moved since 2021 when I moved into the house on Parkington. I mean, I stuck thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars into my lawn renovating it. The city planner was out there the other day looking at at the culvert that I asked him about last time I was here. I understand there might not be anything you can do about the culvert. I'll deal with that. I'll do whatever. But the guy's got grass that grows up and it's waist high half the time, and it's crabgrass and it's all this stuff, and it blows across the street into my ditch, and now I gotta reseed. I just spent $1,500 renovating my backyard this last weekend. So it's getting out of control. It's for sure been 5 years since the guy's been living there. So can we actually take action on it and just not do anything, and like maybe send us a letter to say that you are actually taking action at some point in time? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dan, I have a question to follow up on that. As you said, you can't see certain things from the street. If you were to get access from the neighbors,
To the neighboring property owner, yes.
looks like he's giving you access.
We'll stop by.
Anytime.
Any other comments? All right, we will close the open forum and move to consider our agenda for approval. Does anyone have anything that they would like to add or delete at this time?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Ryan.
I'd like to bring down item 3.3 from the consent agenda to make that item 6.1.
Any other changes?
That I would move to approve the agenda as amended.
There a second?
Second.
Motion by Ryan, seconded by Michelle. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to our consent agenda, a motion would be in order.
Madam Mayor,
That's Ryan.
I move to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ryan, seconded by Michelle. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to our planning report, item 4.1 is Great River Center 8th Edition Boss Swim School LLC. We'll turn it over to the planner.
Thank you, Mayor. Dwayne Boris of Foss Swim School is here tonight representing their application for the property located at the northwest corner of 85th Street and Parson Avenue. This site is guided for commercial uses by the comprehensive plan. This area is targeted as the primary commercial service and office business location within the city to serve not only area residents, but those within the surrounding region as well. The site is part of the Great River Center of Otsego development, which was zoned to Planned Unit Development District back in the 2000s. The underlying uses of this district include those allowed in the B1 retail business district. So can be your typical shops, offices, dental offices, daycares, etc. Surrounding the site, already developed is the Good Day Car Wash to the west. To the east is the Village Apartments, which is currently being expanded. To the north, immediately to the north is Little Explorers Daycare, as well as Tires Plus and Wings Financial. Kind of kitty corner to the site is the Little Explorers Everbrook Academy is the one directly north. On the south side of 85th Street are more industrial type businesses, including Twin City Beekeeping and the Edco Warehouse. So the applications being presented tonight include a PUD development stage plan, which is a review of the site and building plans for the proposed development. They're also platting the one lot that the site is to be developed as, and with that vacating existing drainage and utility easements. The final plat was previously considered by the city council in January, along with the preliminary plat, but it's back tonight for final approval. There are no lot requirements within this PUD district. Essentially, the lot size and width is based on the feasibility of accommodating the proposed development within required setbacks. But the lot is just under 3 acres and 300 feet in width, which is larger than the minimum lot requirements within the B1 district. There's no additional right-of-way being dedicated as part of this final plat, with the necessary easement area for Parson Avenue and 85th Street previously established. There are utilities available to the site, and the site will be connected to sanitary sewer and water services, including payment of applicable fees to receive such service. City engineer has reviewed plans for stormwater management in accordance with the city subdivision ordinance, zoning ordinance, and engineering manual, and finds that it does comply. As an outlot, there were easements previously established with the 7th edition final plat. We're going to erase those off the map and rededicate them with this final plat overlying the utilities that are specific to the site. That's an appropriate action to take. It keeps a clean title for the property going forward and avoids future confusion. With subdivision of the property, it does trigger park dedication requirements, so they will pay a cash fee in lieu of land to satisfy park dedication requirements with the development contract. That development contract the city attorney has drafted. It will be presented for future approval at an upcoming city council meeting once the developer has had an opportunity to review and we have that finalized. So in terms of the building itself, they're proposing construction of a 9,000 square foot 9,600 square foot building to house the pool and related facilities within the property. The exterior finishes are primarily masonry materials. As discussed in the planning report and at the planning commission meeting, there are PUD design guidelines for architecture within this development, and city staff and the planning commission made a number of recommendations to enhance the exterior of the building consistent with those guidelines. We're working on that with the developer currently, but we'll have that resolved by the time building permit is requested. The height is limited to 40 feet in total height based on maintaining visibility to the target store. This is a single story, 20-foot tall structure. So within that, and then they're showing signs only on the 4 sides of the building, no freestanding signs within this property. The site plan itself provides off-street parking for 125 parking spaces. The zoning ordinance requires 98. If you've ever been to a Foss swim school, it's good to have extra. There is the opportunity to develop a second use on the north side of the property. We would look at the parking that's available at that time to make sure there's sufficient parking for both uses and that they're complementary or offsetting schedules. There are pedestrian accesses internal to the site that connect to the sidewalk that'll be constructed on Parson Avenue, as well as the existing sidewalk on 85th Street. The site requirements, the landscaping plan is shown. We did recommend a number of changes and they've made those changes already and submitted those. We have an exterior lighting plan that complies with the zoning ordinance. Waste storage would be addressed as an enclosure reviewed with building permit. And then I already touched on the signs, as well as the engineering review and future building. So city staff is recommending approval based on the land use being consistent with the comprehensive plan and compliant with applicable development regulations. The application does require a public hearing, which was held by the Planning Commission on April 6th. There were no public comments. The Planning Commission did vote unanimously to recommend approval. So for your consideration this evening, as part of the packet, we have resolution 2026-36 vacating existing easements and resolution 2026-37 approving the development subject to 11 conditions.
Thank you. Does the applicant wish to comment?
Actually, maybe answer any questions you may have. Dan's been great to work with. Everyone has been, as far as going through questions, getting them resolved. And we expect to have plans completed in about 2 days and submitted for permit. So we're looking to break ground and hopefully open before December.
Can we get your name for our record?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Dwayne Boris with Foss Swim School.
Thank
Sorry.
All right. Stay there in case we have any questions or comments. Council, this is back up to us. Any questions for staff or for the applicant?
Mayor.
Yes, Corey.
Thanks. Kind of more for staff, I guess. When supposed construction happens with this and the apartment building phase 2 next to it, are those gonna mesh well or?
Mayor,
Yeah.
all the construction would be anticipated to occur primarily within the sites, so there
Okay,
shouldn't be any disruption to adjacent properties.
okay. I'm just wondering about the roads over there with congestion and stuff.
The only disruption that there would potentially be is cutting in the driveway onto 85th Street, but that's a minor project.
Any other questions or comments? Otherwise, a motion, Corey.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I can tell you, we're really excited about Foss coming to our community and all the people that it's gonna bring and.
As are we.
Yeah. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution 2026-36 vacating existing drainage and utility easement
and adopt resolution 2026-37 approving a plat and PUD development stage plan for the Great River Center of Otsego 8th Edition.
Second.
Motion by Corey, seconded by Tina. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Contact soon. Thank you.
Moving on to item 5 under the fire department. We have updates this evening.
Mayor and Council, thanks for your time tonight. Here to give you an update on a number of things, and then there'll be 2 things for you to consider when I'm done with my presentation. Adam, help me with the slides again, but we can go to the next one. It was almost a year ago, it was April 29th of 2025 when your previous director came in and presented the staffing plan for the Otsego Fire Department. And you can see it in front of you, 3 full-time captains that proposed starting in November, 6 full-time firefighters proposed starting in December, 20 part-time firefighters proposed starting in September. That plan still exists. So that plan that you've seen a year ago still exists. We've modified it slightly with your approval. We've obviously moved up 2 of the captains that you approved, moved up the 20 part-time firefighters that you approved at a previous council meeting. So we pretty much have stuck with the original plan other than modifying some of the time frames and some of the things we'll talk about here in a couple of minutes. While we're on that, I just want to clarify a couple of things. I keep seeing that we're going to go from 7 stations down to 1 station. and if you can picture our fire map, we have 3 cities covering our city right now. The only time all 3 cities are going to respond to Otsego is if it's a structure fire. So if it's a building fire. Otherwise, we have 3 very distinguished areas, unique areas, defined areas. And so, for example, if it's in Albertville's area, only Albertville is going to respond. If it's in Rogers area, only Rogers, and in Elk River, only Elk River. There's not 7 stations ever responding to Otsego in the current plan. Even if you added up all the stations, Elk River's got 3, Rogers has got 2, Albertville's got 1. That's 6 stations. I meet with the chiefs on a regular basis, and they will all tell you that never are they going to send all their resources to Otsego because their primary means is to protect their own city. So, for example, Chief Bolin will not send all of his trucks to Otsego because he still has to protect his city. So at no time is there 7 stations responding to Otsego now. And we're going to talk about contracts in a little bit later in my presentation, but nothing's changing other than you're having a fire department in your city. And I'll explain that more detail in a little bit. But why is that important to have a fire station in your city? Response time. Response time to fires and EMS calls is critical. It can make the difference between life and death on an EMS call. Right now, if there was a fire here at Prairie Center, of course, we do everything we could to save it. But in today's world, Elk River Fire Station 1 would be the closest. It's 11-minute drive to get here. Rogers Station 2 and Albertville are the next 2 closest, and they're both 12 minutes away. Otsego Fire Station is 6 minutes away from this location. The other big difference is we're going to have on-duty staff. So we're going to have 3 on-duty staff at our station that can respond right away. And NFPA, this isn't Mike Scott's data, but NFPA says that a career department has an 80-second turnout time. So that means from the time the pager goes off till that truck goes out the door is 80 seconds. And, at most of the stations, you have a count up clock. So when you go out by the truck, it shows you where you're at in that 80 seconds to get that truck out the door. So whether you're sleeping, whether you're working out, whatever you're doing at the station, when the tones go off, you got 80 seconds to get the truck out the door. NFPA also says the average volunteer department depends on the demographics. If it's a city like Albertville that's very small and 4 square miles, you're going to get your volunteers there much quicker. It's anywhere from 3 to 8 minute turnout time. So again, that's just natural. You're at home with your kids, you're sleeping, you're doing whatever it is at your house or at your business. You have to stop whatever it is you're doing, get in your car, drive safely to the station. So there's going to be a longer turnout time. That's just a matter of fact. So what we're doing in Otsego is no different than what all the other departments have. We're going to rely on community part-time members to be our part-time paged folks for major calls, just like all the other cities do. But we have these 3 full-time people that'll be a bonus crew that'll be on shift right away and can at least get out the door right away. Mr. Davis brings up a good point about one station. You know, are we concerned about one station? I know it's a big change because we relied on 3 communities to protect us with contracts for so long, but I don't know of any city that has their own fire department that also has contracts. So take Monticello, for example, one station, 68 square miles, 19,000 people, one station covers it. They don't have any contracts. And again, I'll get to that language in a couple of minutes when we talk about contracts, but you know, mutual aid means it's mutual. Again, I'll talk more about that, but that's what all the other cities rely on is mutual aid and auto aid. And I'll explain all those terms here in a couple of minutes. If we could go to the next slide. Yeah. So some progress we've made in the last 8 months. I brought some of these things up at public safety. So some of those that were in attendance, so it's a little bit of a repeat. But we got our National Emergency Incident Reporting Number. It used to be called Fire Department Identification Number, but they changed the title of it. That's huge. We get that from the state of Minnesota. You can only get it when you're got the equipment to train, or excuse me, you made a commitment to staffing, you got the equipment, you got a station. Now you're considered a fire department by the state of Minnesota. So now we have our incident reporting number. We're eligible for fire training reimbursements. We're eligible to apply for grants. We can establish our own fire key box system. So every business in the community has to have a master key. Right now we have Albertville's, Elk Rivers, and Rogers divided throughout our city, so we can get our own key and replace their keys, so we can be ready to go at the first of the year. And we're going to be eligible for future state aid, which is huge. So that was a big step. It took a while to get that, but we've got it. Some miscellaneous progress on the next slide is fire station is still on track to be done sometime in May and turned over to us by June 1st. So it'll be operational to have our staff as we start hiring part-time staff and get our equipment arriving. We've modified a pickup truck that was purchased by the previous director and make it into a brush truck. Got our radios installed into our existing trucks and our graphics changed to match the Wright County Fire Chief standard of what the fire truck should be called. The new chief's SUV has arrived. And our last 2 trucks that are on order from Pierce, which is in Appleton, Wisconsin, are set to be done in June and will be delivered to us by the end of June. We've ordered some equipment that had longer lead times, and some of the stuff that doesn't have longer lead times, that's more of an operational thing. So Chief McCoy and his future captains will make those decisions because it doesn't take a long time to get it and kind of decide what kind of equipment you want. And hopefully, I know Chief McCoy will do this, they'll kind of match what some of the neighboring communities use. We'll go to the next slide with the fire chief. As you all know, Chief McCoy is starting next Monday. And I won't say where, but he's already purchased a house in your community. He's closing in June. So that's cool. I mean, I like that. A lot of career staff don't have to live in your city, and it's pretty cool that he's committed to live in your city and be part of your community. I think that's one of the many things we all liked about Chief McCoy. The other thing that I really liked about Chief McCoy is he's coming from a city that has the exact same staffing model that we're proposing in Otsego. He has one station, 29,000 people, 73 square miles, and about 3,000 calls a year. We'll have one station, 25,000 people, and 30 square miles, about 1,000 calls a year, but very similar staffing model. Chief McCoy, you know, I talk to him at least once a day, if not twice a day. There's times where, you know, he's a working chief. So he also, you know, he does all his admin stuff, but there's examples where just the other day I was talking to him, there was a water rescue call. He sent 2 of his firefighters in another community to help with that water rescue call. Chief McCoy became part of the other. So there's one firefighter left in their community. Chief McCoy went to the truck, and now there's a 2-person crew, and they were able to respond to a gas leak and then to a medical. And that's what you have to do when you have a small crew like that. And they still rely on paging their community volunteers, community part-time members when they need additional staffing, just like we're going to do in Otsego. We go to the next slide. So we've had a tremendous turnout for part-time applicants. We've had over 70. I think it's higher than that. We're really giving priority to those that live in or near Otsego. We're starting interviews next week. I believe we sent out 35 invitations to those that live in the community. Some have experience, some don't have experience. We're approved to hire 20. Typically, your greatest loss of staffing is in training. Even though we tell people it's 2 nights a week, it's intense. There's a lot of training. You typically lose a handful of people in training. So typically when you're hiring that many people, you overcomp or you add a couple extra people. So don't be surprised in late June. I believe it'll be the last meeting in June. I'll be coming to you, or Chief McCoy will be coming to you with a proposal of how many part-time people we're going to hire. We might want to hire more than 20 just because we know by the end of the year we'll be down to 20. That's very typical in part-time staffing. Training is set to start for those folks at our station 2 nights a week right after the 4th of July. And they go 2 nights a week through November to get all the required fire certifications, and then EMR training. So that's their first responder training to what EMS calls, would start in November, December. We can go to the next slide. Captains, we received 27 applications for captain. So that's amazing with so many hirings going on in the Twin Cities area. We're approved to hire 2. We're going to start interviews the week of May 11th. HR staff and myself started to go through those applicants today to pick the top ones to have Chief McCoy be part of the interview process on. And hopefully we'd be coming to the council meeting on June 8th for a proposal of who to hire for those 2 positions. And again, the goal is to have those folks on board late June, or more realistic, probably the first part of July as well. They can assist with training, SOPs, equipment. There's still a lot of stuff to do. I should mention too, when I talked about that National Emergency Incident Reporting Number, I still call it Fire Department Identification Number, and I talked about training reimbursement. If we can build out our roster for staff by the end of June, whoever we have on our roster as making job offers, not conditional job offers. That's our training roster for the next 12 months for the state of Minnesota, which they base their training reimbursement on. So you get training reimbursement per firefighter from the state of Minnesota. So that's why it's critical to have some of these folks on board by the end of June. We go to the next slide, please. I mentioned this to the mayor and council a few times. The greatest need that we have in Otsego is a fire marshal. We're one of the fastest growing cities in the state. Fire marshal, the difference between a fire marshal and a fire chief, usually the fire marshal reports to the fire chief. They're involved in plan review of new buildings. They answer questions of developers. They're engaged in the building process from the start to the finish. I can tell you in my 8 months being here and with Costco and some other building projects, that's not my expertise. It's usually not a fire chief's expertise to be a fire marshal. That's more code related. We have a lot of stuff going on in our city. We have a lot of code questions that I've been reaching out to some of my counterparts at other cities and getting some answers for. They also create a life safety inspection of existing buildings. Commercial, retail, multifamily buildings should be inspected annually. And they also help coordinate community outreach events, which, now that the weather's getting warm, we're getting more and more requests for community outreach events, which is awesome. Some of the things that city ordinances that some cities have adopted, and we've gotten questions since I've been here, is, can you have barbecues on multifamily buildings? Can you have barbecues on apartment buildings and their decks? You have to adopt an ordinance. There's a state ordinance that you can adopt, but you have to adopt that as a city ordinance. Well, we haven't done that because we really haven't had anybody progressively looking at those. There's also some questions about open burning and fire pits and fire sprinklers and general code, fire code questions. Those would all be a fire marshal type question. I also mentioned the fire key box. We have 3+ different systems in our city. So there's 2 different boxes. So these are boxes that are on every commercial building, every multifamily building by fire code. We can request them. The fire department has a key to open up that box, and inside that box should be keys to the building. So right now we have Elk River system, we have Albertville system, and we actually have 2 different systems from Rogers because they're in the process of switching from one brand to another brand. So again, somebody needs to figure out, one company tracks where those are and one company does not track where those are. So we don't know how many we have out there, where they're at, if they have keys in them. I found a few that the boxes were installed, but the keys never got put in because we never had a fire marshal to do the follow-up. So there's a tremendous amount of work for a fire marshal. At some point in time, we talked about it at some of our different committee meetings. I think you should really consider hiring a part-time fire marshal. There might be an opportunity that would present at a future council meeting, but that's something that's going to be needed. Go to the next slide. Community risk reduction CRR team. We previously had 8 members when I started in September. We disbanded the unit last fall. Most of the members weren't extremely involved, but we had 2 members that were very, very involved with that program. Not knowing the timeline of everything and when we're going to get part-time staff on board. I mentioned earlier, we've had community requests for fire trucks and firefighters to come out already. We've had a couple of events that I've had some people help me out with. You didn't hire me to do those events, and you're not hiring Jim McCoy to do those events because we have a lot of other things to focus on. And our part-time staff that we're hiring, those that are going to need training, we need them to focus on training. 2 nights a week's a big commitment already from them. So what we're proposing, and you'll see it coming up at the end here, I'll talk about it more, is that we bring back 2 of those past members who were extremely involved to help with events like Touch a Truck that's coming up, assist with some of the station items, putting together shelves, and there's a lot of busy work that needs to be done at the station. Those 2 members were also involved with our Pierce fire truck first visit out at Pierce when you do your review of the drawings and the specs. So they're the only 2 that were involved in that. I'd like to have 1 or more of them involved in that. So I did bring this up to the Public Safety Commission, and they voted in favor of temporarily rehiring 2 of those past members for these limited items, with the idea that as soon as the part-time staff's up and running and they have time, that those 2 positions would go away. So that'll be one of my requests for you when I get done talking. Non-renewal fire service contracts. Again, Chief McCoy and I both agree that there's not a need to renew fire service contracts. I don't know of any city that has their own fire department that has fire service contracts with other cities coming in to help them. I know of cities that provide contracts for very rural townships in addition to providing to their own communities. Monticello would be an example. But I don't personally know of any city that has contracts to have additional help coming in. That's usually auto aid, mutual aid. We'll be fully functional by January 1st of 2027. The one big difference is, and Councilmember Dunlap, I think, brought this up at a previous council meeting. I don't know that it was a policy, but I think it was going to be a practice maybe of the previous director that Otsego wouldn't initially be able to provide mutual aid to other communities that were requesting it. Both Chief McCoy and I absolutely disagree with that. We will provide mutual aid. So mutual means mutual. I said that a few times. And we've met with not only the 3 contract chiefs that we have now, but also St. Michael and Monticello. And the meetings have been really good. They're very comfortable with Chief McCoy coming in. Most of them know Chief McCoy, know that he's a man of his word. Our plan is that if there's a request for mutual aid and our on-duty crew is available, we will send our on-duty crew immediately to help them, the neighboring communities that are requesting help. And then depending on how long that crew's gonna be gone, we'll page our part-time crew to backfill our station to cover Otsego. And everybody's comfortable with that. All the chiefs that were in that room meeting, been multiple meetings, are comfortable with us sending 3 people immediately to help them. That took care of a lot of the anxiety over mutual aid. All the chiefs that surround us and I and Chief McCoy have been talking about mutual aid and the dispatch agreements, what they call it in Wright County. And we're very confident that we're working on an agreement for mutual aid, dispatch agreement, auto aid, a couple different terms there. That would be effective in 2027 and beyond. Let's see here. Yeah, I mentioned other cities. Let's see. Sorry, just looking at my notes here, make sure I didn't miss anything. So, structured fires are a very small percentage of our call. And again, Chief Bolin says it really well that, if Otsego requests Albertville on a mutual aid for a structured fire, he's not going to send all of his resources to help us because he has to protect Albertville. And we would do the same. We wouldn't send all of our resources to St. Michael, and leave our city without protection. So I think it's just using some common sense. I think that is my notes. Happy to answer questions. Otherwise, the excuse me, the two items on tonight are to consider reinstating two of the former CRR members and then moving forward with canceling the contracts for fire service for 2027. With that, I'll stand for questions.
Council questions. Chief Scott.
Mayor, I got a question.
Yes.
Mike, what, can you explain, like, if there was, whether it was a bad accident or fire, 94, how would that work?
A fire on 94, did you say?
Yeah, Highway 94.
So are you saying like the area right where in Albertville?
Yeah.
So Chief Bull and I have talked a lot about that. You know, that's that whole area and I'm looking behind your head
Yeah.
here, but 94 South is a unique area.
Right.
You know, right now, the way it would set is we would respond, Otsego would respond, and would probably request Albertville to respond as well.
Okay.
Just because they're going to get there much quicker. They have
Sure.
access to the freeway.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mike, what other services are we gonna see with having our own fire station that we haven't seen so far by having contracts?
So the fire marshal duties is a huge one because again, we haven't contracted that from other cities. So that's not a service that they didn't provide because we didn't ask. It's just, it wasn't part of our contract. So that's one that will be a huge one. Prevention is such a big part of any fire department. If we can prevent things and make communities safer, then hopefully we're reducing our calls. But that preventative inspection service is huge. Getting out into some of the buildings. I had one of my friends who's a fire marshal come and eat lunch with me at a local community, and he looks at things totally different than I do. He's looking at fire exit. He's looking at, I wonder when their hood was inspected. I mean, all these things that, you know, it's not trying to find people doing things wrong. It's trying to make facilities safer for the visitors and for the people that work there. That's something that we're missing now. We get a lot of requests for community events, and I feel bad that we can't go. There's block parties coming up. There's different things coming up, and you know, can you send a fire truck and your crew out here? Well, we don't have a crew. We have fire trucks, but we don't have a crew. And you know, and neighboring communities can't always do that, and it's not in their contract to do that, specifically in some of the cities' contracts to do community outreach events. So community outreach, eventually getting into the schools, doing school visits. You know, EMS calls, I mentioned that a number of times. We don't have an ambulance service that's stationed in our town. That's huge. So all of our full-time firefighters will be EMTs. So it's first responder EMTs and paramedics. Having those folks on scene much quicker than the ambulance and helping our deputies who are very well trained, but helping them so they can get freed up to go to their police related calls. That's going to be huge. I think a year from now, you're really going to see how good it is to have your own fire department in your community. I don't know if that fully answered your question.
Yeah, it does. There's so many things probably that you can't really put your finger on yet. There's the other things I believe that we can work on and try to improve, such as, you know, getting an ambulance or EMS service here or something like that. But we can't really do that until we have fire station actually in our community. There's other potential things that can come down the pike. We can't promise them because we have to work through them. But there's some other potential things that we can go for too.
Correct. And our new fire station is much more than a fire station. It's fire station, yes, but we have offices in there for the deputies to move over from this facility to that facility, which will give them a lot greater office space and some private bathrooms and ability to take breaks and private area, secure area for the deputies. We're providing space for an ambulance. We don't have one yet, but we're encouraging all the ambulance services that serve Otsego that if they have a crew in the area and they want to stop and take a break, it's a benefit for our community to have the ambulance in our community as much as we can. Plus, it's really important for all the responders to get to know each other before they show up in an emergency. So having the deputies in the fire station is awesome. I think Jason's excited about it too. I know he's going to be sitting on the fire truck when nobody's looking, because he likes fire trucks. But you know, the more people are spending time together before they're going to that emergency call is huge for the community. The fire station, you know, as it's getting closer to completion and the fence is down, the more I'm over there, I get community members coming up and asking questions about it. I think that's going to be neat, just to be kind of that neighborhood hub in that area. I'm excited because we're going to put a little free library out there, kind of fire related books and pamphlets and stuff to encourage people to come in that area. Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that you probably can't put your finger on right now, but it's going to be good for the community.
Yeah, I think one of the other things that we talked about before is potentially reducing the dispatch errors that have occurred.
Yeah, so I mean, again, you know, we've dealt with this since I've been here several times. Having contract services outside of the county always makes it difficult. It's not just Wright County. I mean, I've talked to other counties that have similar issues. There are ways around it. They're not easy ways, but if you can keep your fire service within your same county or with your same dispatch center, it's just much more cohesive. And again, even the Rogers chief agrees with that. I mean, he'd rather just stay within Hennepin County. We'd rather stay within Wright County because it's just going to be so much more seamless. And then the deputies know what's going on, who's responding. Everybody can hear what's going on when you're in the same, we call it PSAP, a dispatch center.
Thank you.
Chief Scott, can you share kind of the information about the medical director from Alina? So Councilmember Lund touched a little bit on that we don't have any ambulance that for sure will be at the fire station, but what that means by making that connection with having the medical director from Alina.
Sure. Yeah. So first of
Supporting.
all, you know, even though we have 3 different ambulance services, Alina provides medical direction to all 3 of those ambulance services and dispatch to all 3 of those ambulance services. I've met with Brian Nord and I've met with Dr. Nick Oleski, I think it is, several occasions. So Dr. Nick would be our medical director. He would be given our EMTs medical direction. EMTs can get variances to do different things. So there's basic EMT, which is quite a bit higher than first responder or EMR, they call it. But we can also get variances to start certain practices that you would need the medical director's variances on. That's huge when you have a delay in getting an ambulance to your community. You don't have an ambulance in your community. It's a real basic drugs. Aspirin's a drug, but we have to get a variance to use it. Starting an IV is something that you need a variance on. All those things, Chief McCoy and I will be working on with the doctor as we progress through the summer.
Earlier under open forum, Mr. Davis had asked about a contingency plan with all the cities if something went wrong. Can you comment on any of that?
Yeah, I mean, I commented a little bit on it. Again, I don't know of any cities that have contracts in addition to having their own fire department. That's where the contingency plan to me is this dispatch agreement. All the cities in Wright County use it. I'm used to calling it a box alarm or a mutual aid agreement. Everybody uses a little different terminology, but we're having really good discussions. Everybody's on board with doing that kind of a program for 2027.
And his next question was a forum about the fire department. And you and me spoke when you first came on about a forum and open house. And I would say, I appreciate all the videos you've been doing. So I would encourage residents to go on and watch the videos because he has walked you through the fire station. But what we did discuss at that time was that we would wait until a chief was hired and do an open house. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I think would ideally the new station will be able to be occupied in June. So that would be the earliest you'd want to do it. And again, May is a bit of a busy time frame as far as we've got Chief McCoy's first week. We're interviewing 30 plus part-time people. We're interviewing captains. We've got some final punch list stuff at the station. We're getting trained on different things. I mean, it's just his first 2 weeks are crazy. And then believe it or not, he's going on vacation for a week.
But you'll be here.
Yeah, I'll be.
Any other questions from council? Corey?
Hey, Chief, I just wanted to, I guess, go over. So you guys have had discussions with all 3 departments. They kind of know this was coming forward, the non-renewal, and talked about it and discussed it.
Absolutely, yes. Not a surprise. The chiefs all know about it, and I believe Adam has talked to his counterparts too. So everybody knows.
Relations are in good shape.
Yep, correct. Yep.
Mayor, council, one thing with that too, as many of you might know, some of the departments around us are also hiring replacements for their fire chief position in terms of retiring staff that are there now. So kind of a unique opportunity with Chief McCoy and the chiefs that will be coming on in the future in both Elk River and Albertville to continue these conversations and relationships, and they can build that bond in planning for 27 and beyond. So.
And Mayor, I have one more kind of point for Mike to bring about as far as Wright County being there, which they are here, but they're gonna have more space there. But as we discussed in public safety at one point in time, possibly bringing their boat to store here at our fire station since we have our rivers here. So it's a lot quicker for Wright County to get to the river to help out when we have emergencies. So that's another plus.
Yeah, and again, Jason and I have talked about that. I mean, there's a lot of hurdles for that particular scenario, but there is money in our CIP budget to buy a riverboat, and we've been discussing that with the county, so we would find one that would be appropriate for the river. But on ways of partnership, Wright County Fire Departments have a special operations team. They have two different teams: fire investigation and special. Mess up the term. It's a special operations team, so high and low rescue, silo rescues, all that kind of stuff. They have two trailers, one of them sitting outside at Monticello because there's no space. We've been asked if we'd house it. I mean, it's a great thing to do to show that we're a team player with the other departments in Wright County, but also it's a great asset to have in Wright County, the biggest city in the county. We probably have more potential of needing that trailer. So if it's here, it's going to be a quicker response. But yeah, definitely, as I look at the river above you, yeah, we definitely need to have a river act, some sort of quick means to go to a water rescue in the river, and we would definitely work with the sheriff's office to figure out the best way to do that.
Any other questions or comments? Corey?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Chief, if all this goes well on this plan, when would we be up and running?
So, I mean, we won't be up and running till the first of the year.
Okay.
Just because of the training timeline and everything. The part-time staff that don't have any firefighter training, literally they're going to be getting done the first week of November and doing their state certification at the fire station. And then right after that, they'd start one night a week of first responder or EMR training at the fire station with Alina.
Sure.
And they'd be done by January. And then with the tight timeline of hiring our remaining 6 full-time firefighters and 1 full-time captain, tentatively, it still needs your approval, late this summer, early fall. They still, even though they'll all be coming with experience, you still have to do an in-house academy, and that's going to be about 8 weeks. So everything will time out that by the end of December, we're going to be operational.
Okay. Will you be sticking around till then, or?
No, there's really no need to have me. I mean, I'll be helping Chief McCoy until he gets his captains on board, and then it'll be time for me to leave.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions or comments? And we have 2 requests tonight on the agenda.
And Mayor, I'll make the motion. Okay. Motion to authorize city staff to provide notices to the cities of Albertville, Elk River, and Rogers. The city of Otsego will not be renewing contracted services for fire protection in 2027.
Second.
Motion by Tina, seconded by Michelle. Is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Ryan?
can I just have a second? I got visual aids here. Our city is at a crossroads tonight. We're being asked to cancel a fire protection system that works, even though our own data tells us not to. The question is simple: who gets protected and who gets left out? This is our current system. The blue area shows the 5 road mile safety zone, the industry standard. Under our current contracts, 229 address points fall outside of that zone. Cancel the contracts, and that number jumps to 1,028.
That is a 350% increase in households falling outside of the safety zone. We are talking about neighborhoods like Riverwood, Windsong, and the Highlands of River Point. For these families, this is not abstract. When a home moves from protected to unprotected status, insurance premiums can jump by 40%. That's roughly $1,500 a year for a decision they didn't ask for. It isn't just my math reaching this conclusion. We hired an independent third party to conduct a detailed analysis of this exact plan. Their verdict was blunt and unambiguous. Do not do this. They stated that canceling these contracts and relying on a single standalone station in the center of the city results in the poorest outcomes. And it's not difficult to understand why. This location was chosen to supplement the contracts, not replace them. You will hear that a duty crew will improve response times. The city even claims that those times will be cut in half. But response time isn't just how fast you get out the door. It's how far you have to go. A faster start from farther away is still a slower arrival. We've seen this before. In the city of Orono, leaders made the same promises. Local control, faster response, lower costs. Their independent model failed in 8 months. They returned to a regional system after wasting millions. You'll also hear that mutual aid will fill these gaps. It won't. Mutual aid is not guaranteed and it's not free. Our neighbors have already made that clear. This location was chosen to be the furthest point away from all the other stations, which means the math is one-sided. Our neighbors can reach us faster than we can reach them. That isn't a partnership. It's a structural gap in coverage. Today, we pay about $1.5 million a year for a system that works. To replace it, we've already spent nearly $18 million, and our costs are rising by $1 million every single month. More money, less coverage. We still have time to fix this. We can keep the building, follow the fire study, and use it as a substation to enhance our safety rather than compromise it. If you vote to cancel these contracts tonight, you are choosing a model that experts have explicitly labeled the poorest outcome. You are choosing a 350% increase in households outside the safety zone. You are choosing a $1,500 tax by proxy on over 1,000 families. This replaces a proven system with an unproven one that is already showing every warning sign of failure. For those reasons, I cannot support it. I will be voting no.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-1. Our next item is item C in our packet.
No, I'll make a motion.
Yes, Tina?
Motion to approve hiring Gregory Hubbard and Larry Hudson for the community risk reduction positions with a pay at $16 per hour for a maximum amount of 6 months.
Second.
Motion by Tina, seconded by Corey. Is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
would just like to say how much we appreciate you guys. I know you guys have been doing a lot of volunteering and helping out, so it's much appreciated.
Any more discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
we are once again considering reactivating the community risk reduction team. And I think it's important that we take a careful look at its prior history and the risks associated with moving forward. When this was previously brought before the council, I raised concerns about the team structure, particularly around unlicensed activity, the absence of clear budget constraints, and deviations from our standard hiring practices. At the time, those concerns were not addressed, but subsequent events and the eventual dissolution of the team show that my concerns were not without merit. For example, I recently became aware that a member of the team solicited donations for a trip while misrepresenting themselves as an Otsego firefighter, and later accepted a donation of equipment from a potential vendor in connection with a competition. These actions, as I understand it, were not authorized by this council, but I believe the lack of clear oversight and defined boundaries from this council created an environment where such potentially illegal actions could occur. Additionally,
The initial rollout of the team strained relationships with neighboring communities, relationships we have since had to work to try and rebuild. That experience should inform how we approach this decision today. I recognize that revisiting these issues may be uncomfortable, and there may be a preference to sweep it under the rug and focus on moving forward. However, transparency is essential. It allows us to learn from past decisions and ensures that we put appropriate safeguards in place going forward. As council members, we share a responsibility to ensure that public funds are used appropriately and that our processes reflect the standards we expect across all departments. With that in mind, I believe it is important to proceed with caution and to address these structural concerns before reestablishing the community risk reduction team. For these reasons, I'm not able to support this proposal in its current form, and I will be voting no.
Yes.
Mayor, I just want to clarify when Councilmember Dunlap says he just recently became aware of some of the allegations that he just said. I'm the one that made you guys aware of that when I started here. So it's not something you just recently uncovered. I uncovered that when I started here and made you guys all aware of it individually. So I just want to make that clear that there may have been problems under previous direction. I stopped it and made you guys all aware of that. And I don't disagree with you. There was some major problems. That's why we stopped it. All the things that you just said made sense. I will tell you that this was a subject I brought up to the neighboring chiefs, especially Chief Boland, because it impacts one of his paid on call members. That would be somebody that we're bringing back on, and he supports it. So in its current role, so a limited role. But I do understand your concerns. I just want to make it clear that that wasn't under my watch. So.
Yeah, Mayor,
enough.
I just echo that. Yeah,
Okay.
that's absolutely true.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-1. All right, moving.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks,
Thank
Mike.
you. Moving on to item 6.1, Ryan, hold that one.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I oppose this action because our city is able to receive excellent service from our existing contract providers at a price point that is cost efficient for the taxpayer.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve pay application number 16 in the amount of $927,569.05 for the work completed at the fire station project.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Corey. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-1. All right, moving on to city council reports and updates. This is first item, heritage preservation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Heritage Preservation Commission met on April 14th, and we continue to work on the time capsule project and goals. The next meeting prior to the regular meeting, we're going to be taking a tour of the fire station with a special OHPC meeting at 6 o'clock, and then we'll continue on to our regular meeting.
Thank you. Parks and Rec, Michelle.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. So lots of development in the Prairie Park renovations project, focusing on phase 1 predominantly, doing some master planning. We did the project kickoff the last time we met, which was just last Tuesday, last week. We kind of ran through the schedule and kind of lay it out for you. May 1st is we start an online survey, and then we do some more educational and get some more community feedback at the Touch a Truck event on May 12th. And then the community, there's going to be another community engagement to be determined exactly where and what and that type of thing that we've already done before. I was involved in that as a citizen before being on council. So look for that. Pay attention to the website. Additional information will be issued once we get that nailed down. June 16th is when we review the results from all the engagements. And then we present the information, or the commission presents the information to council on June 22nd. Also in June/July, somewhere around there is when we're expected to hear whether or not we get a grant for the project, which will help out quite a bit. And then the schedule will continue into the fall with design development. Wintertime will be construction docks and bidding. And then with the intent of starting spring of 2027 and completing before Prairie Festival in September of next year. So that's it.
Thank you. Next is Planning Commission, Ryan.
Madam Mayor, the planning commission did not meet.
Okay. When is our next Planning Commission?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask. The 18th? Correct. Okay.
You always say it right.
I know.
All right, next is Public Safety, Tina.
Well, Chief Mike Scott had already basically said everything, but I just wanna commend him on something he did bring up, but you gotta give him more recognition for getting us a fire number. That was huge. The state fire marshal recognized us as a fire station, and I think that's a huge congratulations to you. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we are still under City Council reports and updates. Does anyone else have anything? Okay. We will move on to item 7.1, which is to consider scheduling a special city council meeting to finalize our 2026 city council goals.
Mayor, Council, thank you. I realize it's almost May, but staff would request a meeting on May 11th at 5:30 p.m. Let me
That
just,
should work since we
That
don't have
works.
planning commission.
let me make sure I
Everybody,
have that
May
date.
11th, Monday,
Yes, May 11th,
it's a Monday,
what time?
Yeah, there's a couple.
5:30 p.m., please.
right? It's a council meeting, so, but, okay, 5:30.
Yes, please.
Does that work for everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, then I will or schedule a special meeting for May 11th at 5:30 for our city council goal setting.
Second.
Motion by Jessica, seconded by Corey. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Meeting is scheduled. All right, next up is staff reports. Sabrina.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no updates at this time.
Okay, Adam.
Mayor, Council, if you remember back to a meeting in February, we had discussed some statewide affordable housing aid dollars that the city has. Some of the cities in Wright County itself, and also Wright County Community Action had a very good meeting last week discussing some options on ways to pool in these dollars together to run some programs within the county. So I hope to bring potential agreement back to you for future consideration, kind of in alignment with some of the things that you preferred during that February discussion. So.
Okay, great.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Audra.
Thank you, Mayor. Just letting everybody know that we are hiring for election judges and election specialists for the upcoming elections. Watch the city website if you're interested.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Richard.
No updates for me.
Okay. Dan.
Mayor, no further updates.
Ron.
Thank you, Mayor. Lily Pond Park pre-construction meeting will be held this week. So not long after that, I expect construction to start on that park. And then road restrictions are off, which means some of these developments like Tanglewood Third will be kicking off.
Thank you. Jason Olmans.
I see what time it is. I'll be quick.
You don't have to be quick. You take your time.
Some current events. Sorry, I'm dealing with God knows what type of cold, so bear with me. Current events. For whatever reason, the weather today was just kind of really goofy to the traffic flow. Well, Highway 101 today in Otsego specifically was like a hotbed for a lot of issues. Or truck that jackknifed up by kind of around 39, and a handful of other cars just kept going in off of the Highway 101 corridor, specifically here. There's a handful of issues on 94 all the way up through the county. So we were busy with those pretty much all day because visibility was really crappy on top of just the incidents in general. So we want to make sure that we're supporting our state patrol partners by helping out with like extra sets of lights and everything like that. We got all these, we get really lucky with the tow companies that are in the area. So Berta's Tow Company, Collins Brothers, they do a really good job. So we want to make sure that we're out there kind of having their back and making sure we're getting, because we don't want to we always say, see it through when you're on a call, see it through. So if, you know, you're out on a call where just a simple car in the ditch, so to speak, because the roads are bad, you know, we don't just wait for the tow truck and see you later kind of thing. We stay, you know, see it through and make sure that where the scene is safe until everything's wrapped up. People's driving behavior definitely changes when there's a squad car with flashing lights versus just a tow truck with flashing lights. So we want to make sure that people are moving over. And quite frankly, if I'm being honest with you, I would rather somebody hit the back of a squad car than run over a tow driver. So that's why we do it. And just kind of a couple comments. You know, Tina mentioned the boat thing. I know we've discussed it a couple times at public safety. So we actually how the space is being utilized down at the sheriff's office is going to be changing here probably by fall. So I think everything's going to have to be reevaluated. So that's going to have to open it up. I know I've had a few conversations with people at our office too about what we want for resources around the county. And, you know, knowing that Otsego would have some space. And as we kind of went through that, that's all going to get kind of thrown up in the air. We got to reevaluate everything and kind of move some stuff around for different equipment that's coming in and new space that's going to be coming in. So completely reevaluate so you can take everything that I've said and just throw it up in the jar. So we'll figure that out as that time comes. But it's important. I really like having that stuff available. I mean, it's something as simple as, you know, anybody that's had our open, you know, gone to our open house at the sheriff's office and got inside that building and seeing how much stuff we have to pile in there. Something as simple as having to move one piece of equipment out of the way so I can get to, you know, a certain boat or a certain piece of equipment to get out in an emergency manner. It's crazy how much that 5 minutes seems like, you know, as a guy, you're sitting there, you know, having to back up a Super Duty pickup truck or whatever and trying to hook up a trailer in about 30 seconds. And I don't know, it stinks, especially when there's an emergency. So other than that, if there's any questions, otherwise I have nothing else.
Was there any injuries on the 101?
Yeah, I think everything was minor. I think everything that was respond. I think like Elk River Fire Department had to come down for like a gas leak on the semi truck, I believe, but it wasn't anything major. I don't think anybody like flipped over. I think just everybody sliding off for whatever reason. It was really weird. There was all over the county, quite frankly, but 101 for whatever reason, there was cars just going in all over the place. I don't know the viscosity of the water, what temperatures, maybe. I don't know. I'll look into that.
I'm just making sure everybody was okay.
But yeah, no injuries that I'm aware of right now.
Okay. Anyone else have anything? All right. Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you. All right. If no one else has anything, then a motion to adjourn would be in order. So moved. Second. Motion by Tina, seconded by Michelle. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The meeting is ended. Thank you all for attending.